Subscribe for the latest in boxing. Deontay Wilder must either be the most unlucky heavyweight in the heavyweight division or the most feared heavyweight in the heavyweight division. Because when it comes to his hardcore boxing fans, his fanatical boxing fans, I call them leeches, parasites. The guys that only defend Deontay Wilder and act like he's never in the wrong and it's always everybody else's fault and Wilder can never do no wrong and he is the ultimate professional and he is the most avoided heavyweight. When it comes to these guys, they always say that the reason Wilder doesn't fight this opponent or that opponent or this opponent or that opponent is because this opponent is ducking him. This has been the case for several years now. When it comes to his fanatical, parasitic fans who are completely blind and basically infatuated with Deontay Wilder, and that's why all they do is defend him, no matter what. Every time you ask them, why didn't Deontay Wilder fight so and so or this guy? The answer is always because this guy ducked Deontay Wilder. You ask them, why didn't Deontay Wilder fight Vladimir Klitschko? It's never Wilder's fault. It's always Vladimir Klitschko's fault. Vladimir Klitschko wanted no parts of Wilder. You ask them, why didn't Deontay Wilder fight Brian Jennings? They say Brian Jennings ducked Deontay Wilder. You ask them, why didn't Wilder fight Joseph Parker? They claim Parker was ducking Deontay Wilder. Before Luis Ortiz fought Deontay Wilder, you ask them, why isn't Deontay Wilder fighting Luis Ortiz? They say Luis Ortiz was ducking Deontay Wilder. You ask them, why isn't Dillian White fighting Deontay Wilder? And because you see Dillian White going around saying calling out Deontay Wilder, clearly not, being afraid of Deontay Wilder, clearly wanting to face him. You know what you hear them say instead? Instead of saying he's ducking him, they say he doesn't deserve a title shot against Deontay Wilder. That's what they say. So it's either Deontay Wilder didn't fight the guy because this guy's either afraid of him or he's ducking him. So it seems that Deontay Wilder is just very unlucky because all these heavyweights seem to be petrified of him, seem to be absolutely terrified of him because they just don't want to face him. And I just find that comical because throughout the years, you've seen interviews of heavyweights calling out Deontay Wilder. Like I've seen Brian Jennings call out Deontay Wilder. I've seen Tyson Fury call out Deontay Wilder. I've seen Dillian White call out Deontay Wilder. I've seen Jarrell Miller call out Deontay Wilder. I've seen several heavyweights. I've even seen Amir Mansour call out Deontay Wilder. I've seen Dominic Breazeale call out Deontay Wilder. Yet these parasitic fans want you to believe that every heavyweight that Deontay Wilder doesn't fight is apparently afraid of him. Well, if this was the case, why are they calling him out? Why is that? I'm not sitting here saying that no heavyweight has ever ducked Deontay Wilder, but what I am saying is if you think that every heavyweight in the heavyweight division is afraid of Deontay Wilder and the reason he's not fighting these guys is because these guys are afraid of him, you're delusional. You're absolutely delusional. Because no one's going to tell me that every heavyweight in the world is ducking Deontay Wilder. Therefore, that's why he's not fighting these guys. The truth is, he's ducking a lot of these guys. This is why he's not fighting them. When he was an up-and-coming contender, he was fighting a lot of trash opponents. He could have fought way better opposition, but his team didn't have the confidence in him, and they put him in there and fed him against bums because they didn't have confidence in him. If Wilder really wanted to, he could have looked at his team dead in the eye and said, stop feeding me these bums, put him in there against a legit guy who is in my level or who is, considered a legit dude and stop feeding me these guys with 20 professional losses in their records. But he didn't do that. He let his team control his career, and this is why now he's looked at as, a shit champion because of his padded record. And even when he was a champion, while he was a champion, he defended a lot of his belts against low-level challengers, and he let a guy who wasn't even professional, who just turned pro 4.5 years ago, surpass him and become the heavyweight champ, the unified heavyweight champion of the world, when it should have been him. It should have been Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder should have been the guy to have all 4 major belts. If Deontay Wilder wanted to, back when he fought, even before he beat Bermane Sterling, he could have challenged Vladimir Klitschko, because back in 2013, people wanted to see him fight Vladimir Klitschko, but he didn't do it. But let's say he would have fought Vladimir Klitschko. Let's say he would have beaten him. Then let's say he would have fought Bermane Sterling. Right now, then he would have become the unified champion of the world. Right? And the whole boxing would have been different. Joshua would have never won it. And none of this stuff, right? Right now, Wilder would be the number 1 guy. And people would probably be saying, I want to see Joshua, challenge Wilder for the World Heavyweight Championships. But Wilder never elected to fight Vladimir Klitschko. He instead elected to fight Bermane Sterling because he knew that Bermane Sterling was the easiest route to go. Let's be real. And after he beat Bermane Sterling, he still didn't go after Vladimir Klitschko. And what happens? The titles get separated after Fury gets stripped, and a guy from the UK named AJ ended up winning the belts, unifying with all the other champions, and Wilder just sat back. He sat back and he let that guy from the UK named Joshua do all the work. And now he's going around claiming that he's the realest champion in the business, as he says it. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.